Thank you for that very kind introduction. President Duncan, trustees, faculty and staff, family and friends, and dear class of 2014, thank you for asking me to speak to you today. I am delighted to be celebrating this exciting new beginning with all of you. Today I want to share with you one story and a mnemonic, a simple learning aid, which I hope will guide you on your various journeys. But first, the story. This is a true story from over 100 years ago. The story is that of a young man who in many ways was in a similar situation as you all find yourself today. The setting is colonial India, and the year is 1913. By that point in time, India had been ruled by the British for over 300 years. The young man had earned an associate degree in arts and was granted funds from the king of a local princely state to pay for law school. Upon graduating, he landed a job at a reputed law firm and quickly poured himself into work. But after a few years at it, he began to have a nagging sense that something essential was missing. All of that changed when the young man got a chance to hear and meet the unquestioned leader of India's independent movement, Mahatma Gandhi. The young lawyer was spellbound. He had found his calling, and it was to join India's struggle for freedom. After years of tireless work, in 1946, he was elected to the Constituent Assembly, a group of forward-thinking leaders chartered to frame and then draft free India's very first constitution. The young man went on to become the second Speaker of the Congress, and later, a two-term governor of the eastern state of Bihar. To this day, the original copy of the Constitution of India bears his wet ink signature. That young man was my grandfather. A truly remarkable human being. And many, many, many decades later, he and his wife, my grandmother, were both afflicted with two different kinds of stroke, which eventually claimed their lives. These grandparents were the inspiration for my brother and I to co-found a technology company right here in Sacramento. We combined my engineering skills with his training in medical school to combat the insidious and deadly disease of brain attacks. The values that our grandfather instilled in his children and grandchildren can be explained by a simple mnemonic. And they are the 3 T's. It stands for true north, trials and tribulations, and treasure. Allow me to elaborate. As far back as I can remember, I enjoyed math and physics and building things that only existed in my mind's eye. Today, I am the CEO of a biotech company. We build things that matter, medical devices that save people's lives. As for my calling, I have no doubt that I am here on earth to leverage technology for the betterment of society. We are all called to do something, every single one of us. My grandfather found his calling in public service. My brother, a physician, is here on earth to transform brain attack care. Calling. It is that pursuit that brings something in you alive. It celebrates the unique person that you are. So what are your clues to finding it? Let me offer you a couple of suggestions. The first is effortless engagement. My 6-year-old daughter, my wife and 2 kids are seated right there in the second row. My 6-year-old daughter loves to explore different art forms. whether it is singing, painting, or making innovative bracelets with her rainbow loom kit. My 3.5-year-old son, right there, his effortless engagement is completely different. He took apart a ballpoint pen and put it back together when he was barely 21 months old. True story. He loves to build, and he's constantly tinkering with Lego blocks and toys. So think back to a time when you were utterly immersed in an activity. Perhaps it was spending time with friends, or playing a favorite sport, or reading a book cover to cover on a lazy Sunday afternoon. Now think about the words that come to mind as you recollect that experience. Are grit and determination and ferociousness what comes to mind? Or would you instead use words like spontaneous and natural and easy? There is a profound difference between effortless ease and forced action. Consciously lean into activities that you can effortlessly engage in. You owe it to yourself. The second clue is feeling like you have stepped out of time. Do you lose track of time when you are catching up with an old friend? Or how about when you're painting, or writing, or spending time with little children? I personally lose track of time when I invent and build new things. Do not ignore these signals, as subtle as they may be. They are your portals to a deeply fulfilling life. Taking the time to find your true calling is a sacred obligation, one you must never ignore. There is an authentic version of you within you that is aching for expression. You give it voice when you align your actions with a person you were always meant to be. Now for the second T, trials and tribulations. Everyone experiences some form of adversity or failure sooner or later in life. No one is immune. We all go through struggles, but we choose how we respond to them. My grandfather instilled in us a mindset that helps us overcome many of the challenges that come our way. Today, I will share with you one practical technique that I have found to be very helpful. Pick any challenge you're currently grappling with, or a goal. It is a goal that may seem a little bit out of reach. I want to get admitted to a specific university. I'm looking for a job that brings out the best in me, but just can't seem to find one. I want to lose 25 pounds, whatever it may be. Pick one. And the same goes for parents in this audience. We all have something we're challenged with. An elderly parent to take care of, young children that need our constant attention, the quest for financial security, or perhaps a health scare. Whatever it may be, pick something that has a little bit of a rub to it, and ask yourself how committed you are today, now, to overcoming it. Go ahead, assign a percentage. If we're brutally honest with ourselves, we may realize that we are 98% committed, or maybe 99% committed, but it is that 1 or 2% of the time when we allow self-doubt to creep in. I don't know if I can do this. This challenge is too overwhelming. This is simply not for me. I give up. My advice for building an unstoppable mindset is this. Pick one area of your life to begin with, just one, that is extremely challenging, and simply commit 100% to it. You can do it on your drive back home tonight. It is that easy. And it is one of the most self-empowering things you can do for yourself. Not 98, not 99, but commit 100%. And what you do in that seemingly innocuous moment is that you transcend doubt. No matter how many times you fall down, your commitment will remind you, you have to pick yourself up. And over time, The smoldering embers of confidence within you will be stoked into a raging fire. Transcending doubt is your key to inner vitality. My grandfather was jailed over a dozen times by the British Raj. He picked himself up every single time, and by doing so, he showed us that all it takes is a single candle to defy the darkness. My brother and I were turned down by dozens of venture capitalists in 2008. It did not faze us. We knew that our collaboration was meant to result in a flat-out, game-changing treatment for stroke. We simply transcended doubt. This leads us to the last T, which is treasure. The most common interpretation of treasure is money, or wealth, or big bank accounts. But the real treasure is who you become in this process. Like annealing of steel, your life's challenges may push you to the melting point, but in the end, you will emerge stronger than ever. Real treasure is knowing that you have an important contribution to make to our human community. Real treasure is knowing that even in moments of deep despair, there's someone out there whose candle can only be lit by you. You know, I occasionally listen to Bollywood tunes as a way of unwinding from a busy day. And the lyrics of one particular Hindi song caught my attention. I will spare all of you the agony of hearing me sing. But let me read one verse out aloud. Sacha ho dil to, so mushkilein ho, jhukta nasiba paon mein. Which means, if you are true to yourself, if you find your calling and summon the courage to follow it, the world may place 100, heck, 1,000,000 hurdles on your path, but in the end, destiny has no choice but to genuflect at your feet. That, my friends, is the power of true calling. Ancient India coined a beautiful and elegant Sanskrit word for it. It is called dharma. You find your true calling, you utilize life's every challenge for personal and spiritual growth, and immeasurable treasures will be available to you. That is living your life in dharma. No matter how hard things get, remember, you are the hero of your own journey. We didn't start the fire, and the fire indeed has been burning since the world's been turning. There are some who interpret Billy Joel's lyrics from 1989 as highlighting the turmoil and strife that has always been a part of human nature. I choose to see it a wee bit differently. To me, the fire refers to the fire that kindles the inner awakening within all of us. This is the fire of inner transformation. It is the fire that brings forth an inner vitality, one that awakens your soul. It is the same fire that guided Mahatma Gandhi in his quest to peacefully end 300 years of British rule. It is the same fire that compelled my grandfather to give up a lucrative law practice to fight for India's freedom. It is the same fire that urged my brother and I to pour our life savings to find a treatment for stroke. It is the same fire that will pick you up when you are pushed to the limits of your endurance. It is the same fire. It is the same fire. That fire, dear students, now belongs to all of you. So class of 2014, many, many, many congratulations to all of you on all that you have achieved so far. You did it. And I am so incredibly proud of all of you. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you very much.